So it looks like Great Western is leaving the final expense market along with Columbian Financial Group, Lumico, and rumored many other carriers as well. Is the final expense market in an upheaval? Is it still safe to sell? What we're going to be doing in this video is giving you my perspective on what's going on with Great Western, why I think their product is exiting, and then give you my, I guess, silver lining behind it all as to why the final expense business is still strong and still a great business to be in. So we're going to jump right in. So this is off at Life Insurance Agents, Tips, Tricks, and Closers forum group on Facebook. Andre Vandenbroek, sorry if I spelled or said your name wrong, Andre, posted this up. And this was a letter all of us got if we had an appointment with Great Western, talking about the discontinuation of the product effective August 31st, 2024. They cite some reasons why they are discontinuing the product as follows, which include continue low taken rates. So that's the business that's approved, that either never makes it past the first payment or never makes it to the first payment, depending on how the company counts that. So a lot of people not keeping their policies, so that's obviously a bad thing. Billing issues, the ability to collect premiums in a timely fashion at a high rate of collection. Poor persistency, says this is business that is approved, makes it to the first payment, but never really makes it beyond that to the ranges that a company wants to see, which can be 70% range up to 80%, depending on how the product is designed. So it's below that conceivably, which is never a good thing. And fraud, probably most likely fraud on behalf of the agent, writing fraudulent business on people who never approved it to get the advance commission and run off with the money. We're all indicative of a product not well suited to meeting our needs for our customers and therefore not aligned with the Welby brand, for sure. Moreover, efforts to address poor quality of business resulted in significant loss of scale and elevated expense margins. In other words, saying that it cost them so much money to try to render this problem fixed that it just bit into the margins and the profitability, and they just couldn't justify doing it. So, which is why they pulled out of it. Now, is this actually the case? It very well might be. But my argument that I'm going to give you as to why this company and possibly others, although there are probably other reasons these other companies are leaving the market, are actually indicative of a major problem that carriers have, which is not creating a product that's actually designed with the final expense prospect in mind, how they live, what they do, and therefore how to best manage this unique group of people in a way that you can consistently collect on them and make a profitable business model. I will demonstrate this as I responded to this thread with my reasons as follows. So these are the problems I saw with Great Western not being addressed by what I would consider to be a final expense market. Number one, advancing on cards of all types. Give an agent an inch, they'll take 1,000 miles. So in the world of the broker, the person with multiple carriers, whether getting free leads or whether you're buying your own, you have choices. And what carriers need to understand is if they position their product in a way, in a reality where carrier or agents have options, they're likely going to be defaulted to receiving the certain style and niche products that they're designed for. And that's kind of in a perfect world. Doesn't always happen this way, but I believe it has happened with Great Western. One of the things that they had was advancing on debit cards and credit cards for the longest time. And so what happens is any type of business you write where there's not a bank account, the business is just very poor in persistency across all carriers. Some companies like Trinity Family Benefit, they monitor the amount of card business they get and will terminate the agent because they know it's not going to be a center of profit for the company if they write too much card business. So what Great Western did was there was no control function to the volume of this type of business. They advanced on this business, which historically lapses more often, and therefore became basically you give them an inch, 1,000 miles concept. The business just went there for that style of business. Again, so rule number one, when you're designing a product in the broker market and you're not a captive company like Lincoln Heritage or arguably to a certain extent Senior Life, where you recruit agents to sell that one product, is you got to design a product with what the market has in mind when it comes to what the agent will write under which circumstances. Number two, there is no Social Security billing option. This is very important. Part of the billing issues that insurance companies have in the final expense is that they don't time the billing accurately. Now, this is not a normal problem for the average American, but we're not dealing with the average American. We're dealing with the final expense population. And what you have to give them is the ability to collect the premium on the exact date that the money is deposited from Uncle Sugar, also known as Social Security. Whether that's the first of the month, third of the month, second, third, or fourth Wednesday of the month, if you don't time the billing exactly to their Social Security deposit date, you're up the creek without a paddle and are going to experience more persistency and collection issues and therefore chargebacks and lower quality of business. Great Western did not have this. Companies that are intelligent do, such as SBLI, Trinity Family Benefit, American Amicable, and others. You will see an increased level of persistency no matter the pricing of your business relative to other carriers, et cetera, if you timed billing correctly. Now, why is it like this? Why is our clients like this? I don't know. It's just unique. It's a rule of how you do business in the space. This was a big problem they had, and combine that with being a center for debit cards, credit cards, et cetera. I mean, you're not collecting the best and the brightest clients, if you know what I mean. Number 3, non-competitive product only good for guaranteed issue, meaning poor mix of business qualities. This is the problem I had with Great Western for years. They just didn't have a compelling product or reason to write them beyond their reasonably priced and easy to use guaranteed issue product. They had another product that offered graded, level coverage, a modified plan, I believe, but there was no reason to write them. There was no compelling underwriting reason. There's no compelling pricing reason. There wasn't a product stack that stood out from the competition, whether it was some sort of funeral concierge program, a grandchild rider option, something like that just didn't exist. And in our agency, just for examples purposes, that's what we wrote. We informed agents there's no reason to really look beyond the guaranteed issue product. Therefore, that's all the agents wrote. So guess what Great Western Wellaby's getting? They're getting, number 1, card business, bad quality business. They're getting, number 2, card business that largely isn't set up on a Social Security dependable billing. So they're missing payments more often. Number 3, they're getting guaranteed issue, which historically has low persistency relative to level coverage. You can look at this at any guaranteed issue carrier. Persistency sucks when you are guaranteed issue. So you're now in a position where you're getting the bottom of the barrel final expense clients. Never a good idea. Another issue here, and Wellaby, if you're watching this, just a little tongue-in-cheek, don't take this too offensively. Acquired by a company who does not understand final expense. Wallaby, are they Australian or what? Just a joke, really was. But the point is, Wellaby, I've never heard of them before they acquired Great Western. Do they have any talent in their executive branch or their executive suite that understands the final expense business? I find that a lot of people in the space have no understanding of really what final expense is about. And this is part of the reason they make these products that just miss the mark on some of the fundamentals like billing and so on and so forth. So that's a big problem. So you see these companies getting acquired, their management changes, their belief of what makes a good insurance business changes, and maybe they don't bring the talent in to resuscitate a product to make it perform well. So that's part of the problem. The other thing, this goes back a while, a lot of you new people won't know this, but the initial block of business that Great Western wrote was all free of any underwriting. MIB and prescription checks were not included in the process. And invariably what happened was that, you're in a position to where anything goes with these carriers. They don't do underwriting. They eventually pulled that, I think, in 17 or 2018. And I used to write Great Western in 2015 or 16 when they introduced the product. And that's how it was. There really wasn't any underwriting or MIB check. There was the GI product, as it always has been. And this is, again, not so much now as much as a problem, but back then, maybe it's affecting the profitability now because they wrote a bunch of level coverage at more competitive prices that really was GI, that was clean sheeted, meaning it wasn't underwritten correctly, possibly. The last point I'll hear on this, well, 2 more points. Number 1, no fraud protection. So this happened to me. I had an agent who left me with 10 or 15 grand in chargeback debt, and it was real simple what he did. He just made up a bunch of credit cards numbers, put them into the system, ran the draft, got an advance commission up front of like $2 grand a policy. And then when the first draft went out, because he wrote these monstrous policies. There was nothing there. It was a fake account. People were real, probably didn't know they were being used in the fraud scheme. And he ended up with 20 grand, 15 grand, whatever it was, walked away, and I got to pay the bill. Wonderful, right? That's what it's like being an upline. What's the moral of the story there? And this is a real problem. And if you're a carrier out there, you please listen to me. Like, this is a huge problem. You don't hear about it on social media because most of what you're watching is MLM stuff, and they're just going to hype up the submitted business, but not the quality of the business or what actual income or chargebacks that the agents are getting. But a real problem with you carriers is that you don't have actual fraud prevention systems set up to prevent a lot of this. I'm going to tell you what you guys can do right now if you're not doing it already. And you're causing these agencies to experience 5, even 6-figure chargeback roll-ups where it becomes a responsibility of somebody who had no responsibility in causing the fraud to happen. And it takes good people out that otherwise would be in this business, writing quality business. So the biggest perpetrators of this stuff is, first of all, very high advance caps. Carrier, stop giving out $2,000-$3,000 advance caps. Try $1,000 to $1,500 if it's a brand new agent, and then give them more. Because if somebody does get through all the metrics and they write 20 bad policies before it's caught, that's a $20,000 chargeback, which is bad enough, instead of a $60,000 chargeback. Ask me how I know. Had that happen. Same exact deal happened before. Y'all need to be running verification checks on the bank accounts. Are they real bank accounts? Are you seeing multiple bank accounts show up? Multiple routing numbers show up with the same agent? You should be running these reports instantaneously as these carriers come in. It's not that hard to do. Are you running for phone verification checks? If you're an agency, you need to be like what we do. You need to call behind the policies that are written to make sure that the phone numbers are legit and the clients actually took out the plans as intended. Look, you can do all this stuff. You need to check if these people are actually alive. I know a carrier that got charged back with $1 million roll-up, $1 million from one agent because he was writing dead people, freaking dead people that have been dead for years, like 4 or 5 years, but they're approved for coverage with XYZ Life Insurance Company. And lo and behold, how did that happen? Are we really checking the MIBRX check as well as we can? And lo and behold, you look at the accounts on the report, as I heard from the person this happened to, multiple accounts were listed. It was obvious there was fraud, but nobody at the carrier level was doing this. So I don't mean to get off too much here, but the fraud stuff is absolutely stuff you can prevent. If you're a recruiting agency or agent, stop bringing on people with a pulse. The best thing you can do is really judiciously screen these people up front. Make sure that they're people of their word, that they're getting on the lead programs that you do. Stop accepting people that do mysterious lead programs you've never heard of but somehow get a bunch of business. And take people on who are good people. Stop hiring people who aren't or questionable at worst. And the last thing I'll say, and this is good because I feel like in our business, a lot of this stuff is finally starting to chill out. But really through COVID, man, there was just such a huge uptick in the MLM BS, people slinging policies left and right. I mean, I have heard of MLMs teaching you're going to push one product no matter what it is, get it approved, have it all listed as no answers. If it doesn't go through, do another product. Don't care about health. Just pump the apps out. Don't care about the quality of the business submitted, etc. Long story short, ladies and gentlemen, the MLM stuff, a lot of this is caused by their crappy business tactics. They never cared about you carriers. It was all about trying to pump up their valuation, to show their revenue numbers and production numbers to get sold without a consideration to you. And I would say carriers, guys, if and there's carriers now that are smart about this. They're not getting in bed with the MLMers, the people out there that just recruit at no cost or regardless of the cost to the product or the carrier. They don't care about relationships. There's carriers that understand that now is what I'm trying to say, and instead are looking at carriers that or agencies that actually care, like ours, not large, super large companies, but not small either, medium-sized companies that care about sales tactics, conserving business that they write, and making sure it stays on the books so that it's a win-win, profitable for the agency, but also profitable for the carrier. So what's the moral of the story here, guys? I don't think the business is going away. I think what we saw really over the last couple of years is this huge upsurge in interest in final expense. It's starting to level off. And I think with a lot of these acquisitions by private equity, a lot of these MLMs, the owners, the people running the company are leaving. So I think some of the values are changing. And I think a lot of this approach to just write business at all costs, no matter the stakeholders involved, the clients, the carriers, et cetera. Hopefully some of that is going to chill out. And I don't know if we're going to see a slowdown in the business. It's been super busy for us recruiting agents, but in a sense, I hope there's a slowdown in the attention to it. Because a lot of the bad actors came in because of the gold rush of the business or proposed gold rush. And I think carriers hopefully will wise up as they see this stuff, as we see the business slow down and it's not as hot as it used to be. And then we can get back to writing good quality business that is designed to stick and hopefully stay away from the MLM BS. So guys, that's my thought on why Great Western left the business and why I still think this business is great. The demographics are strong. We've got another solid 20 years of people turning 65 by the 10,000 plus a day. The need for final expense has never been better. The interest level has never been higher. And it's all about finding good partners to work with on the agency side and definitely on the carrier side, guys. So avoid the MLMs. Look for agencies that are willing to train and mentor you to become good producers, and stick with it. This business isn't going anywhere. My name is Dave Duford. Check out davidduford.com if you want to learn more about becoming a top producer. We recruit agents to sell final expense over the phone remotely from the comfort of your own home and provide free leads, although we do allow you to buy leads if you want or sell face-to-face too. davidduford.com for more. See ya.